Saudade é dourada a corda.
We're here, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Saudade Generation Tuga. Today, we have my good friend, one of my best friends, 25 years in the, well, more than 20, 30 years and 35 years in the making. Oh my God, I'm already revealing my old age. One of my oldest friends here in the community, Brian Ferreira. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Michael, or Costa. I always called you Costa. You're my friend, bro. You're my bro. For years, since we've been kindergarten, grade one.
Yep.
And hello to all the viewers, everybody tuning in for this podcast. Let me start off by saying, Costa, you have a good idea of doing this. You do a good job. You have good interviews. Don't stop. Keep going. Do what you got to do. Get the truth out there. Let the community know what's going on, and let everybody share what they got to share about what they live in our beautiful Portuguese community and our traditions that we have. And hopefully, I wish you all the success, my friend, for sure.
Thank you very much, man. Coming from you, I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. And I know we share that passion for our culture. So it's really fun when I have a conversation with people that enjoy the culture the same way I do, and especially in this case when I know all the spicy stories, but most of them I'm going to keep them to myself.
I hope you do, man, because I can get in some trouble if you tell all these stories.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff I want you people to know about this wonderful person that is my friend Brian. So let's get straight to it. First of all, obviously you're born in Canada, but your parents are from San Miguel, right? Which freguesia are they from?
My parents are from San Miguel. They're from a freguesia da Relva. A lot of people, when they hear that, they're like, "Oh, the grass." They're from the grass, le gazon, da Relva. Vas gostar Relva? They say, "Mas vocês vão brincando para aí, voilà." But yeah, my parents are from the Relva. They came here. My mom came here very young. My father followed here after the army over there, and that's it. They came here and built a life and had 3 kids, me and my 2 older sisters. And we've had a beautiful life here in Canada, Quebec, Montreal.
And your mother, she came here young, like my mother came. So they were already installed in the Montreal life, in the Quebec life. Yep. And your grandfather was a big part of the Portuguese community. Your mother's father, and he was a big part of how you got involved in the culture, right?
The main part of how I got involved in the culture already when I was young, and we used to go to the Festas São Cristo, and we used to see the parades. I was 4 or 5 years old, and probably even younger. And, the parades were long. It got long standing there watching. Nothing really interested me about people walking on the street with capes or statues and this and that when I was younger, right?
Yeah.
But something happened inside of me when I heard music coming down the street and I see these marching bands with instruments and drums and flags, and it caught me right away. It caught me at those moments of seeing the parades of São Cristo, especially São Cristo. That's one that my parents always went to, just to see the bands, to hear that music, to see them marching all in the same way with the same footing and everything, marching to the beat of the boom. That caught me. Something inside triggered me, and it was meant to be that eventually I was going to want to be a part of that for sure.
And that was your first exposure to music? Or because I know in your family you had people that played in bands and stuff like that. But that moment or those moments at São Cristo Feast when you would see the Filarmonica, that was the first time that you really knew that's what you wanted to do?
That's the first time I knew. A bit before that, I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. My uncle, Steven Barbosa, he was a bass player for Conjuntos Contact. Yeah. Which still exists today.
Yeah,
they
wow.
played at Ville d'Anjou, Espírito Santo Ville d'Anjou last weekend. And these guys have been around for 40 years. You know what I mean? This year is 40 years that the name Contact exists.
You don't see that a lot.
With the same singer, Carlos, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And Contact basically started in my parents' garage. They started practicing and got together, and they were practicing in my parents' garage. So as a kid, I would walk into the garage and see these older guys playing their instruments, and it was a wow for me. My uncle was definitely a big inspiration for me. I wanted to do like them, you know. I wanted to follow the older guys and copy them and do what they were doing. And sometimes when they weren't practicing anymore, I'd sneak into the garage and touch their stuff, you know, and screw around with their instruments and the drums. And I was always scared to get in trouble for that, but I never got caught. And, yeah, I mean, so just by walking into that garage and seeing all that stuff was another big part of a boost of, oh my God, this, you know, I mean, the Conjuntos in my parents' garage, marching bands in the streets on Christ, like, music, it said something to me right away, and I responded, and I definitely got into it. Even at Festas, when we used to go to São Cris or Espírito Santo at Santa Cruz, like kids, you know, they like to run around and run away from the parents and this and that and go play. You know, we used to crush cans and play soccer in the halls and stuff. But my parents weren't worried about if I left. They knew where to find me. I was always sitting at the edge of the stage, just staring at the band, you know what I mean? Especially the drummer, and I would analyze what the drummer was doing. And then the next day I'd go home and do the same thing, you know? So I was always listening to them, watching them. Sometimes I'd even grab a little tambourine when it was Conjunto Contact. My uncle would give me a little tambourine and I'd be playing with them at the same time. And my parents knew when it was time to go, call Brian. He's in front of the stage. They came and see, and I was right there, you know? So yeah, that was a big part. I'll never forget that.
And that was around the time where you started playing the drums. No, who gave you your first set of drums?
You know, before I got my first set, it was my mom's pots and pans, books. I remember I used to have the little pencil case. Remember in elementary we had the pencil case, le kit. It was like a little box, a little plastic box. I would use that, a plate, a pan. I would like set up some sort of like drum set out of these stuff in front of me on a table with like spoons or a wooden spoon, and I just start making noise, you know what I mean? So at a point, my uncle realized that I think he likes the drums, right? And I remember it was my communion. I was 7 years old, and my family distracted me. My mom told me to go upstairs and get something or go in her room. And then while I was doing that, my family, my uncle and everybody else that got together to buy me a drum set, they were bringing in the drum set and they set it up in the garage. And when I came down, they said, okay, Brian, your gift is in the garage. Go see what's happening. I opened the door and I see a white, beautiful Rogers drum set, and I just lost it. I ran to it right away. And there was a bench and a set of sticks, and I grabbed the sticks and I just started playing right away. And everybody was like, he already knows how to play, like, you know, like, because of everything I had seen, you know. I analyzed the drummers. I listened to a lot of music too, and I started to play the drums. My uncle showed me a little bit of the basics. I remember him writing X's and O's on a paper and telling me like the rhythm and the count and everything. And I just started picking up on those little tricks, little basic tricks that he showed me. And from then on, it was, like I said, analyzing other drummers, doing like them. Sometimes I'd sit behind the drum set. I had a radio next to me with the cassettes back in the day. And I would play stuff like Bon Jovi, which me and you were a big fan of Bon Jovi, right? Bon Jovi, Aerosmith, Def Leppard, you name it. And these are all cassettes that I stole from my sisters, because my sister Wendy was older, so she always had music cassettes going missing, you know. It's not me. But I was always like listening and playing at the same time, and then I felt like I wasn't doing something at this right that he did, so I rewind the cassette, do it again. And my drum set was in the corner of the living room in our basement. So I had to choose my moments also to play, you know. When the family was gathered around to watch America's Funniest Home Videos, I was smashing the cymbals and making noise. My father would be like, hey, paano pa sa barrio agora? Hey, coming on me, you know what I mean?
I remember the drums being in the corner in the
remember
basement.
That, huh? Yeah. That in the corner of the living room. Like, okay, I guess that was my studio, right? There was a moment also that I kind of started neglecting it a bit, and then my father was like, "Mas navashtkoi vechmuntai se matis la fora," you know, and that scared me, and I started playing again, and I never stopped. Like, you can't get rid of my drum sets. I never stopped.
Don't take away that drum set.
Oh my God! Thank God he did, and God knows where I'd be today.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then And then that was, as far as I remember, I always remember you playing drums and you having that passion for the drums. But to do a little side note, all this time that you were playing drums and everything, you were also starting to get involved in the Filarmonica with, like I said before, because I remember in our graduation, you playing for elementary school, you playing the trumpet. So you were already getting involved in the Filarmonica. How did you get involved in the Filarmonica?
Well, that was around, I mean, grade 6 was what? We were what, 11, 12 years old?
Around there.
So obviously by playing drums at home and my family realizing that I had a musical talent, it goes back a long way. Also, my father's family side, you know, there was men that played accordion, the harmonica, a lot of them sang in church choirs also. So it was actually my grandfather that realized it. My grandfather, Armand Barbosa, and he was a part of a couple of associações. He was part of Associação da Chalaga at a point. I believe he was president there for a few years, 1 or 2 years maybe.
So, yes.
My grandfather used to hang out at a Chalaga and also used to hang out at Filarmonica, you know. So one day he said, "Represente, vens comigo, like you're coming with me, you know. Where am I going?" He brought me over to the Filarmonica on a day that the banda had Unisai on a Wednesday night. And when I walked in, I was like so happy to be there. I walked into the hall and I see a band practicing. I'm like, wow. And I was always looking at the older guys playing kasho, boom, all the instruments in general. By the end of the practice, I remember Sully Nord was talking to my grandfather. And my grandfather said, "Hey, Minat, saptka bateria and this and that." And then Sully Nord said, "Okay, vamos lá ver o que é que ele sabe." And they put me behind the drum set at like 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. And I started playing the beats that I learned off the basics that my uncle taught me and some stuff I had learned off the cassettes, like I said earlier. And like now there's like a whole crowd in front of me watching this kid. What can he do? I remembered Jimmy Farias, Nelson Almeida, Derek, all the other Almeida brothers and some other members that obviously are no longer there today. And they were all watching me, and I was just doing my thing like dum 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 bum 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 bum. And they were like, "Oh shit, this kid can play drums," you know. And Senior Nod was like, "Okay, ele vai começar com a gente já domingo," you know what I mean? And I came in and I started playing kasha. And
you started with kasha at the beginning.
I started with kasha, yeah. And then after they asked me, because they already had somebody or 1 or 2 players playing kasha, and they asked me to play an instrument. I said, sure, you know. So I started going to the music school back then. Sully Nord was my teacher.
Because you had to learn o Freitas Gazul, solfege, right?
Yeah, because, you know, a lot of people, I don't know in other bands, but in our band, it's happened a few times that people show up and they're like, "Oh, eu vou tocar kasha." But a kasha te monta a música no papel para aprender como é que se lê a música da kasha, you know what I mean? Like, you still have to learn how to read theory music for kasha. People think it's just ra, ta, 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 ra the whole time. But no, there's papers to kasha, and you got to learn how to. And even when I was older and people were coming in, I was always saying, "Yeah, but you got to learn how to play music too." Anyways, so yeah, I started learning the solfege, going there twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I believe we had school, and Sully Nod would teach me. And you know, that's a great teacher, Sully Nod, because you know he's very. Everybody knows Sully Nod. He's a tough guy, right? He's like a military type. Do it this way. If you don't do it that way, you're gonna repeat. He raises his voice a bit. You know, tough teacher, tough love. But the end result made me what I am, and I'll always appreciate him for that. And he'll always have a special place in my heart because he's the one that got me started. So once I got to know the solfege, they gave me a trumpet. I started picking up the trumpet.
And how did you? Sorry to interrupt you, but
no problem.
How did you choose instrument? How do you say it? Bucal or the paleta?
I didn't really choose. They just threw it on me, right?
Okay. I thought it was something you preferred.
No, I didn't get a chance. Honestly, I never really mastered a clarinet or saxophone. But you know, if I were to maybe be interested and start practicing it, I would. I could probably pick it up in not too long. But I always stuck with brass. You know, trumpet. I play baritone today. I played tuba for a while. So the only instrument brass is the trombone slide I never picked up. But they have trombones pistons that I can play for sure. French horn, all that stuff I can play.
So it was more for a need for the band than for what you wanted to play. Like, give me that instrument.
Yeah, exactly. They felt, a maestro has his choices to make. If he feels that there's enough cautious, or if he feels that he knows that I would have a talent somewhere else, he probably felt that too, and got me started, which I appreciate, because now it makes me be able to play various instruments,
Yep.
And so I started playing the trumpet there, which comes back to when I played in grade 6. I don't remember exactly the event, but I remember playing in front of, was it the whole school or just our class?
No, I think it was just, no, I don't think. I remember it was just our class because it was graduation, but there was our parents there too.
That's right. And I played the graduation theme song, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Macho Man song, which we call the Macho Man song.
What's that?
No, I won't be able to get it now.
Well, is it the graduation song?
Yeah, they call it that. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that's Macho Man. Yeah, that's right. So I played that. And I remember, I don't remember if I played the Canadian national anthem too. I don't remember, but I played the graduation song in front of grade 6, and I remember
you did play the national anthem. I think you did.
It's vaguely coming back. I can remember little details about that. And I remember like playing it and like also noticing every single kid was like just staring me down like, oh, wow, this kid, he could play the trumpet. We're the same age, So the teachers were impressed. I remember them giving a lot of comments to my moms, saying like at such a young age, I was able with confidence to go up on stage and play this trumpet easily in front of a bunch of kids in class in elementary.
I used to seeing that. Yeah,
I think that was one of my first performances live in front of a crowd.
and then the following years, the teenage years. You were very involved in the Filarmonicas. You guys.
Oh yeah. Once we started hitting 15, 16 years old already. When I was 12 years old, I was in it. There were times that, at the beginning, you're like, you don't play like obviously the professionals that are sitting next to you, or the guys that play well. And I remember I was even sometimes faking that I was playing, and Leonard caught that at a point, and he's like, hey, what note are you playing? And I got stuck. And this is like in front of like 40 other musicians, right? He pointed me out and he goes, play me this note. I think it was a re. And I had nothing happening in front of everybody, dude. And he gave it to me in front of everybody, man. I remember I went home crying that night. My father was like, we could touch it on. Like, oh, you're not great and this and that, you know what I mean? But I remember I practiced that note all week to be ready. If you put me on the spot the next week, I was going to play that again, man. And I remember the first song I picked up on my own was Ep10 Comboio, And I remember taking my trumpet in the middle of the night. Everybody was sleeping at home. And I went down to the laundry room and I grabbed my trumpet and I picked up Ep10 Comboio just by the sound of the air coming out of the trumpet, not even a clear note.
Oh.
If you listen to the air and you move your pistons, you can kind of hear the note changing, even just through air and not even a loud blast,
Wow.
And I remember I picked up Ep10 Comboio, wrote the notes down just through air sounds, dude.
Wow.
And that Ep10 Comboio, I'll never forget that song. That's engraved in my brain for life, dude.
Wow, that's such a cool story, man.
Oh, dude.
I didn't even know you could do that. Like you could hear the note.
There's something there.
Coming out.
Yeah, I didn't want to wake everybody up, right?
Of course.
God forbid my father hear me play the trumpet at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night in the laundry room, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was just like a little air note. Like you couldn't even hear the brass playing. It was just air that came out. And by moving the pistons, there was a certain pitch that would change. So I picked it up that way. It was pretty cool, yeah.
And you guys would go every year. I played a bit. Sure, I was a member of Filarmonica. I didn't play much, but I was a member of Filarmonica for a bit. And and we've what I really loved. Well, that's what really made me happy is always the extracurricular activities. and I really liked the ambiance, the atmosphere that the banda had on road trips, on everything, it's which they still have today, which is remarkable, is that family feeling of FPM. You know, it's that makes it totally different than any other. Well, at least that I've known. You know, I can't talk for bands all across the world, obviously, but from what I've known here, and how was those trips? How can we convey to these people listening, like a trip to Fall River with a band in Montreal? How was that?
Dude, like sometimes you hear like sports teams, like a hockey team, soccer team, hockey especially. They take a lot of trips, right? Those trips are bonding moments. You know what I mean? They bond together in the bus. You talk to people. You get to know people better. You get closer to people. You prepare mentally in the bus before the show. You know, you have the maestro announcing things, getting people ready, motivating people. You know, so it's already an excitement in that bus. You know, already when you're showing up at the association at 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's two huge Voyager buses waiting because we'd bring like the band and family members and friends. And already there, everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's happy. Fall River was
excited,
excited. You know, Fall River was and is. It's been a while. I haven't been there, but one of the biggest Portuguese feasts in North America. Good times, man. Good times. I mean, it's unforgettable moments. Bonding, getting close to people, preparing, long trips. Funny at the border when some people don't pass because they don't have the right paperwork, you know. Back then, I mean, one officer would come in the bus and be like, "Everybody got their passport?" Yes. Okay, bye. They wouldn't even check everybody. No, I think there was somebody drunk sleeping in the bathroom and they didn't even know. You know what I mean? Today it's different. You got to go in. You got to scan your thing, everything. Some of these Portuguese people have Portuguese passports. They're not up to date. They don't know these things. They show up. Unfortunately, a couple of times, some people were turned back at the border, but we still had to do a job, right? The show must go on.
Yep, that's right. And oh my God, if those walls can talk at those hotels where some things, you know, we're young and crazy of it. Some things,
you know, but especially when, like, you know, like myself, I used to go to Fall River. No parent supervision whatsoever. We were in our teens, you know, the year you were there, it was probably even more fun, right? Because, you know, you're an animated guy, you're a funny guy, everybody likes you, and you fit well with any group that you join, dude, you know, so...
And we were 18 that year, so imagine. I think I was turning 18. I was the summer of my 17th year old. So imagine
we weren't even legal in the States yet, you know. But we'd find some guy over 21 that was a cool guy to go buy us what we had to do at the duty free, and you know, get us some bottles and some beer.
We used to get that gallon of Rossi wine there for $7 US, bro.
Yeah, for sure. And fill up that tub with ice, and all the drinks were in the tub. And empty it to my boy. Nobody could take a shower in there anymore. And it was just, you know what? We partied hard. We had it because on the Saturday, the thing is, on the Saturday when we got there, we'd have to go straight to the hotel, get ready, and concert was right away. You know what I mean?
Saturdays, yeah.
But after concert, when we chill at the party a bit and then get on the bus to get back to our hotel, after having a successful concert, on top of that, everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's got their drinks and everything ready to, you know, party and have a good time at the hotel. You know, some situations went a little bit overboard. We don't have to get into those details, you know.
Let's just say not all the hotels were willing to get us to take us back the following year.
One hotel that marked us for life. You know what I mean? They marked us for life, and we can no longer go to that. We can't go to that place anymore.
Yeah.
So it's okay, but you know, I mean, we're young. A lot of the older men just did a sound. They thought we were crazy, and you know. Too bad for those the kids that had their parents with them. Unfortunately, they couldn't stay out with us all night, you know. But just me and you, dude. We had no parents, you know. We were out until 4 or 5 in the morning, dude. But you know what's impressive? The best part is that in Dias Guide, on the next day, we had parade. We had to be up early, dressed, ready in the lobby by 10 a.m. And no matter how hard our Saturday night was or what time we went, we were there ready, and we played even better on the next day. It just, I guess having a little bit of beverages loosens you up, and it feels good to play music, and it gives you a little bit more of a spike, I guess. And it's good moments, man. Memories forever, and hopefully one day we can go back there. Now at our age, I don't think we'd do the same things we did before. We still have a little bit of craziness, but not as much. And the kids today, they don't act like that anymore, right? I mean, because they're in the hotel rooms on their phones, right?
It must be 20 years I haven't gone to Fall River Feast.
At least that, yeah.
I know that apparently New Bedford is also a big feast there now in New England, and apparently also the one that we have in Ontario. Brampton.
Brampton. We've been to Brampton. We've been to Brampton maybe two times already.
Mm-hmm. It's also a big feast there, right? Amazing place, amazing party, amazing people. It's a nice area too, where the church is located. They do a very good. They have a good organization. They set up very well organized. Everybody's got their timeline. They respect it. Oh, nice. Very nice. The after party after the Concerts de Banda, they got the popular singers and DJs. Amazing party, amazing. Another party to look forward to go to every year now. Hopefully Brampton sticks in the yearly plans for sure. Yeah. And congratulations to them, because this year is their 20th anniversary, and they're inaugurating Esportes da Saudade in Brampton, which is like they have in Ponta Delgada and in Fall River. Actually, they also have a Esportes da Saudade in Fall River. So it's congratulations to them for 20 years of Festas no Santo Cristo in Brampton, and it's going to be a big one this year. So if you guys want to go check them out on Facebook. I think the flyer is already out.
And it's not that bad from here. It's what, a 7-hour drive, 8 hours?
I think 6 hours and a half, because 5 hours and 15 minutes Toronto, then another 45 minutes to Mississauga, and then it's not even half an hour to Brampton. So
it's worth the drive. It's worth the drive. You book a hotel, you leave a Friday night, you spend a nice weekend in Brampton. You don't have to go eat here and there. Brampton, the feast has everything. They got the food, they got the bar, they got the entertainment. Great weekend, guaranteed. Everybody should check it out for sure.
Everybody should check it out. All this time that you were in the Filarmonica, and you still are in the Filarmonica, also you went into Conjuntos, into bands. You started playing drums. How was that part, going into bands? Tell us a bit about being in a band. What is it being in a band in the Portuguese community?
It started at the Filarmonica. I was 13 years old when I was called to be a drummer in the first conjunto that was started with members of the Filarmonica. And time of my life, I loved it. Being young like that with older guys, I was always surrounded with older guys that, they played guitar, bass, singers. I was always the youngest guy of the group. You can hardly even see me behind the drum set because I was 13, I was small. But you can see those sticks waving around, and you can see the bass drum skin pounding, you know what I mean? So a lot of guys found it pretty cool, and I'm happy to have had the confidence of people that started the band to say, hey, let's get Brian to play drums, you know what I mean? Mm. And it just started from there. The first band was with Sunil Nard, a couple of other members from the band. Pedro used to play bass, Pedro Tavares. He started there. A couple of, we were a big band. We were like 12 members because we had a brass section. We had like 3 singers. We had drums, keyboard. We were a big band. The name of the band was Eclipse, my first band, I remember.
I was trying to remember, that's
right. So our first parties were at the Filarmonica when we used to do our little annual traditional parties, Matança de Porco, Festa de Xixá, New Year's parties, Christmas, whatever it was, the band, it was like a house band, Yeah. And we used to play, people used to have fun. We used to be packed, that house too, man. It's not a big hall, and we used to pack it in there. And there wasn't a big stage either. So on top of that, with a sound system and the band, it got really tight in there. But always a good time. Wonderful to practice. I always look forward to practicing. I always look forward to shows. Getting older, I kind of at a point, because my uncle played for Contact, and I always loved Contact since I was a kid because they were in practice in my parents' garage, right?
course.
At a point, I was 17. So I mean, from 13 to 17 years old, I only had this Conjunto Eclipse, you know, and we had our gigs at Santa Cruz, at Club
Oh, yeah, you guys
Portuguese,
came and played at Saudade. Yeah, yeah.
we started going out of the Filarmonica. People saw us at Filarmonica and started hiring us to go out into other associations. And I remember a time that Conjunto Contact, their drummer, George, a big inspiration to me also. Things happen in life, you know, he had to move on his job and stuff like that. So he left the band and they were seeking a drummer. And my uncle spoke to me. Costa, it was a dream for me to play with my uncle.
Of course.
In the same conjunct. I had to announce to Eclipse that I was leaving, but they understood that it was because my uncle's in that band and he's asking me to play. And these guys were like my childhood favorite band and stuff. I grew up with these guys. I grew up watching them. And it was my dream to play with them, and I got to do it, and I appreciated so much the time that I had with them. It's you know, the way it ended with Contact was pretty rough because you know, back then we were teens. I wasn't that responsible. I wasn't good. I didn't, you know, school was not a big priority of ours back then. You know what I mean? So my uncle was a pretty straight guy, you know, and at a point, my parents got to talking to him, my mom especially, which is, you know, it's her brother, you know, tried to get him to help me and to inspire me to go to school and this and that. And I remember coming home one day, expecting my uncle to pick me up to go to practice. And he was sitting at the kitchen table and didn't look too happy to see me. And I was like, hey, how's it going? We're going. And he's like, what's going on at school? You know, your classes, this and that, math, and no, you're not passing your grades, blah, blah, blah. Because music kind of took over everything. I wasn't interested in anything else. That's how big the love for music I have. I didn't even care about school. At school, the teacher was talking about something. I'm writing music notes on a little piece of paper. You know, I'm drawing instruments. I'm drawing this and that. So my uncle decided to say, "Oh yeah, well if you can't go to school, you can't play for my band." And that was a devastating moment for me, man. Devastating. I remember I mentioned that to him a couple of Christmases back. I was drunk. I had some wine and I was like, hey, remember when you kicked me out, Steve? Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I remember. I go, yeah, that didn't help me. It made me worse. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I still love you. And,
but in hindsight, now you look back and you see why he did it also.
Of course, because he just wanted the best for me, right? But I mean, you know, sometimes people think, yeah, obviously, even me today with kids or my own nephews, I'm always telling them, guys, school, get good grades, do good, go to school. I'm trying to encourage any young people that go to school. You know what I mean? Obviously, if I can go back in time, I would change a couple of things, you know, but I think music in my life personally kind of a little bit dragged me out of there. You know what I mean? Because my grandfather also, when he used to bring me to Filarmonica and practice would end or music school would end, my grandfather would stay at the bar drinking with other guys until like 11 midnight. I'm 12 years old. I have school the next day. You know what I mean? So I was getting home late, having to wake up early. I wasn't focusing in school anymore. To a point that my mother said, okay, your father's going to go start picking you up because your grandfather stays there until 11 midnight, you know? And my mom would always tell my grandfather, he said, muito tarde para ele, tenho que vir para casa, you know, stuff like that. So,
at the escola.
Yeah. So, I mean, after that, after Contact, I also played for various other bands. I think right after that, I joined the Request that had Jimmy Ferreira, another big inspiration in my life, this guy. With his dancing.
We used to at that time. We used to follow Request at every gig they had. We were always there.
Everybody followed Request. They were on fire.
Oh no, they were on fire in those ages, and we would always go up on stage and la 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 la.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Remember that? Yeah, the I Will Survive theme song. And I think I have a picture. There's a picture of like guy, me, you, Mike Nelson, Simon, a bunch of guys just there doing the leg races on that song, and on stage with Jimmy, sweating, kicking out in the crowd with his mic, and big inspiration for sure.
How was that joining that band? Because we looked up to them growing up.
Oh my God, another honor. I mean, already before I joined, Soon João Bunge was one of the first brass members to play for Request. He played trumpet for Request, and then I don't know what happened. He stopped playing with them, and then Jimmy's brother Mike started playing, and then towards the end, it was me and Jimmy's other brother Nelson that were two trumpets in the band. I also had the bongos next to me since I knew percussions. That's when I also started having a microphone in my face and starting to sing a bit of back vocals, help like harmonizing to Jimmy's voice. Great years with Request. So many shows. These guys
they were a busy band. Yeah,
they were booked like 2-3 weekends a month. It was insane. I didn't have time for family events anymore. I was always in shows. Telling people I couldn't make it because I had to play music and this and that. So it was very busy. I got to play with so many people, even Conjuntos Reflex. I got to play with Fernando, and there was the two brothers, Joe and Tony, that used to play in that band. Remember, Dorval Tamaz tocava bass in the band. Yeah. I got to play with Reflex. I got to play with Request, Contact, my first band, Eclipse. And then after all these bands, there was a little other band that had started with Miguel and Desio also.
Oh, yes.
It was Up in Swatch. At the time, we were called the Up in Swatch. It was a little band that lasted a couple of months there, but it was fun. At least, we're still we keep trying to do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back then, it was like that. One band would break up because of nonsense stuff, and then another band would start, and then, we get together, let's start this, let's start that. Even until today, right now, I'm not doing anything. All I have is my banda. And people still come up to me and say, "Hey, pá, nunca mais tocaste em conjuntos, nunca mais cantaste." Because after playing drums, when I didn't have a band, there was a band looking for a singer. And I used to play.
About to ask you, how was that transition from drums to becoming a singer?
It was pretty shocking because I was used to being in the background, you know what I mean, behind the drum set, behind the trumpet with only a mic to do back vocals. And then I remember a band looking for a singer because I was getting good comments as a backup vocalist. People would hear me sing. I was able to sing high notes because harmony is a second note higher than the lead singer. And so I was able to come around with it. At the beginning, I wasn't good. I sucked. I remember being at a wedding, and the guy that was doing our sound, he was like, something's off, And I was like, guy, you better not point me out, And at a point, the guy, he let us play the whole song, but he recorded just my mic.
Oh.
And at the end of the song, he goes, "Okay, guys, let's listen to this." And he played just me coming out of the speakers, and it sounded like shit.
Oh.
It sounded like shit, bro. And you know what? But I felt so embarrassed at that moment. But the embarrassment just made me want to practice more and get better. You know what I mean? I didn't back down from it. I got better. I practiced. I started singing a bit more.
It didn't make you hide. It made you, okay, man, I'm gonna work at it, and I'm gonna show you that I can do this.
Naturally, I think that's how I am. I'm always like that. If I like challenges, and I like to defy odds. You know what I mean? When people think you can't do it, I'm right there to say I did it. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And so one thing led to another. Bands, like I said. So there was a band looking for a singer, and I remember the publisher of Voz Portugal, Silvio Martins. Spoke to me about a band looking for a singer, and I said, and I knew who was in that band. It was Nilton Rebello, his wife Cathy Pimentel. Our first band we had called Expressions, and I had an audition. I had auditions to go to Nilton and Cathy's house. I walked in. I already knew Nilton, so I was like, "Hey, lots of time we haven't seen each other. It's been years and stuff." So I had an audition right away, and one of my favorite songs until today, I love singing, is Os Olhos da Minha Mãe from Jorge Ferreira. I love that song. Even like the trumpet, the brass part, that song, I love it. And it was one of my songs I had for audition. And that was the first song we did. And after that song, they said, "Okay, we want you." So it was pretty quick, And you know what? We had 8 amazing years after that of Conjunto Expressions. Quebec, Ottawa, Gatineau, Kingston, Montreal. There was a year that we had 17, 18 contracts in one year, weddings, you name it, we were there. the just like the banda, the trips, you know, when we have to load the instruments, we go on a trip, we're in the car, there's amazing moments, laughs. I still have videos and pictures. I look at them and I laugh, and I even send them to them. You guys remember this and that? And it's truly incredible, these moments, and the lifestyle of being in these bands. Obviously, sometimes the hard part is at the end of the night, you know, and you got to take everything down, load again, bring everything back to the studio, especially when it's -20 and there's like all kinds of winter storm outside, and we're carrying speakers into the van in our fancy shoes and suits, and getting home at 5 o'clock in the morning with $40 in your pocket. You know what I mean? It's if you're in it for the money, some people say if you're in it for the money, you're at the wrong place, you know. But others that have success make the money, good for you, and you know, keep it going. I mean, if you're able to pull it off and make a full career out of Portuguese music, go for it. You know what I mean? Good on you.
And I don't want to put you on the spot here, but if not which one you prefer, but which one do you feel more comfortable on stage, to sing or playing the drums?
Oh man, that's a tough one. To be more comfortable is obviously playing the drums, right? Because
you feel more nervous when you're singing?
I'm behind the scene. I was always nervous. Costa, I'm nervous with you right now, and we're just one-on-one, you know what I mean? And people would always say, like, why are you nervous? Like, sometimes I come off as a shy guy sometimes, you know, a little bit quiet in a crowd, you know, and people like, but how come you're like a shy person, but you can sing in front of 400 people? It's because I'm not alone on stage. I got my guys with me, you know. But before having to go on stage to start the show and saying like, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boa noite, senhoras e senhores," you know, and then everybody always says, "Tudo gente que está da comida," and then you get the claps and this and that. Those moments, just to come out, those first words, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen," I'm nervous, man. I'm shaking. I'm backstage, sweating, but because I always tend to think the worst, you know what I mean? I always tend to think like, oh shit, nobody's gonna like it. People are gonna judge us. Nobody's gonna dance. People are not gonna like my voice. People are not gonna like the music. But 2-3 songs into it, and the dance floor is packed, and people are enjoying it, then that feeling of me being nervous and anxious is out the window. And I'm flying until 2 o'clock in the morning, dude. You know what I mean? So
it's like a liberation for you when you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because there's always that thought of, you know, what are people gonna think? You know, I don't want to be on the bad side of, last night, you know, when it comes out in the news, it wasn't a good show. The singer was terrible. People left early. You know what I mean? It was never that. And I always had good comments, especially at weddings. People would always, the couple that hired us would come up to us and me personally and say, "Thank you so much. What an amazing band you guys are. People are not going to forget our wedding. Everybody had a good time." So it's all an encouragement to keep it going, you know. But every single show before starting, I'm nervous, man, for sure. Especially the times that I had like allergies and my nose is blocked and I don't have a good airway and I gotta sing. I remember one wedding, I had allergies and I went to the bar. I thought that taking 2 shots of brandy was gonna help, but I took 2 shots of brandy, but I had put like those sprays up my nose, right?
Yeah.
And this is a wedding, and when it got time to sing, because of the mix of the medication in my nose and the shots of alcohol, my face was red, swollen, and I lost my voice.
No.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. And I couldn't end up doing anything. Kathy Pimentel was the one that ended up playing piano and singing some of her songs. And then I ended up DJing for the rest of the night. Couple wasn't happy, but I went up to them. You could see my face. Like I can't sing right now. I lost my voice. I'm all screwed up. That was a mistake. The mixture of nasal spray and brandy, don't do it.
Don't do it, kid. You have allergies, you're losing your voice. Don't think brandy.
That one I'll never forget. And I felt super bad about it, obviously, too, right? Yeah, it's a wedding. You have 200 people at your wedding, and the band can't perform all night. I ended up DJing. It was still okay, you know. People danced, because that's another thing that I also did in the Portuguese community. At the same time as having bands and a banda, I also got into DJing. on my own. Also started at the Filarmonica when I used to bring my parents' radio set from home with cassettes and with two little speakers and start putting on music for the people in the hall. And then slowly got hired to go do somebody else's little small party at their house. And then got hired to go and play music, go and DJ for a little baptism party. And then it got into weddings. And then I had to start investing in getting a bigger system and, you know, the equipment that we need. And I did it a long time, man. I did it a long time. I have to, as of 14, 15 years old, I started DJing almost at the same time as playing in Conjuntos. So if I didn't have a contract with the Conjuntos, I'd have a contract with the DJ. And I never wanted to, you know, disturb one. Priority was the band. I always put the band first. If I had an availability and the band had nothing, I would take a DJ show and go do what I had to do there, and which was a lot of fun too. A lot of fun.
And what we see, I'm glad that you brought up the DJing, because what we see now in the community, we don't see no more bands. It's I would like to, but I don't know why. It's hard to have a band. It's hard practicing, having all members, always having to rehearsals and all that. And it's also, I guess, it's also more expensive than a DJ. And the associations and the organizations maybe don't have as much money. But now all we see is DJing. Obviously, we'd like to see more bands in the Portuguese community. But what do you think has a hand to play in the fact that there's less bands now?
You mentioned, you say it's hard to have a band. It's hard to practice. Those are the easy things. It's hard to get out there and have people hire you. That's what the hard part is. You know what I mean? Because to go to practice is fun. I loved showing up at the studio and the guys are already there playing and they're warming up, you know, and then we take 5-10 minutes to chill before we start. And we saw each other once a week. We were picking up new songs. Everybody has ideas. You know, at a point, my last band I had, I guess the community kind of wanted to go a different way, you know, I mean, today we only have still Contact, the only band left in the Portuguese community, and I was super happy to see them play at Ep10 d'Anjou, and I saw them play also at Festa de Saint Martin at Saint Enfant Jesus. Amazing! For me to see a live band, I love it. You know what I mean? There's nothing better than to see a drum set, the bass, the guitar, the keyboards, the singers, the light show, and everything. Because it's less expensive than a DJ, I'm not sure about that, because I think we had a decent price. I think some DJs charged more than what we charged as a band. You know what I mean? We went home with peanuts in our pockets, dude, you know, and there's expenses to going out. We got to rent a truck, gas, we stopped to eat, something happened to a system, we got to fix it, we got to buy stuff, you know what I mean? We didn't go home with much money. It cost us almost nothing, but it was a joy. It was a fun night. Obviously, yes, when I DJ'd, I made more money than when I played with the band, but it wasn't an excuse for me to DJ more. I always put the band as a priority. I think that, you know, you hire a big band like Starlight, Jorge Ferreira, Spagas. We saw Spagas come from Portugal last year or 2 years ago. Amazing. And I understand it as in a way that you're not always going to hire the same bands either. You know what I mean? Because people, you know, it's always the same songs. If you're always playing, you better be having new songs. Like it takes a lot more practice to always have a new repertoire of songs that people haven't heard you do yet. But everybody has their lives. It's hard to pick up 20 new songs in a week, dude. You know what I mean? So sometimes we show up, we have our sets and we play our set list, and it's the same songs as João saw us play 2 weeks ago at another party. You know what I mean? So it's to get the variety. Also, hiring big names attracts more people to come to your party, which is good for business, obviously. So, I mean, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know the answer to that. The years I did it, it was successful. People liked it. People hired us. At a point, I had my last band. We kept getting together once a week. We practiced anyways, you know, waiting for phone calls or waiting for someone to call us for a certain party. And we realized that, you know, what are we doing? Like, we're here practicing. It's been a year that nobody called us. You know what I mean? So you know, let's at a point of just like, you know what, let's just pack it up, man. Let's take a break and see what happens. And you know, that break became a longer break, and to the point that, you know, then somebody said, oh, you know what, I'm gonna come and pick up my stuff in the studio and this and that, and you know,
because life continues. Because life continues. You know, you take a break, but life continues, and you go do other stuff, family.
Absolutely. And you know, I mean, it's to whoever association directions that are responsible for hiring bands. What is the true story? Maybe you can have an interview with one of them and ask them what happened.
I'm going to get to the bottom of that one.
I'm sure you can, because you're the guy to do it, man, with your podcast and everything. Yeah.
I want to get into a bit.
Tough question. That was a good question, man. It's like
I'm getting good.
Yeah, it's good.
I wanted to get into also a bit of the now, the moment, the now. Now you're in Filarmonica, you're playing baritone. But before you came, you had a little time where you were meshed, and the responsibility, because this is not the same responsibility as playing an instrument or something. No. This is you're basically responsible for 40, 50 musicians.
It's another level.
Yeah. It's another level. Yeah. Explain to the people listening here what it takes to be, not what it takes as talent, but what it takes from you to be a meshed, and the responsibilities it inhabits.
You know, it takes a lot. It takes a lot, especially patience, dedication, motivation, because you got to be able to motivate everybody in front of you, and have everybody try and follow the same path, the same line. When I did it, you know, I mean, I don't want to say that I was named because there was nobody else to do it, and they just said, okay, well, I guess we got to have Brian, you know. I proved that I could do it. I always had a vision of myself doing it. At a point that I thought it was my turn, somebody else came and did it, and I didn't take it bad. You know, I thought, okay, in my head, I was like, okay, I'm next. Now they're going to call for me. They're going to call for me. And they called for somebody else. And which was also an amazing maestro, which, you know, I could say it was MJ, Marie-Josée.
Yes.
God bless her soul. She did a year or two, and she did an amazing job. And she left for her own personal reasons, you know, because like it's a big responsibility. People have their own jobs and lives apart from music, and sometimes it's just too much to handle all this, you know. She did it for a year or two. I did it for 3 or 4 years. I was fortunate to be maestro when the band went to Brampton. That was a happy moment. You know, I feel that I brought something different to the table. I feel that I brought everybody together a bit. I brought a new vibe, more of a, you know, yes, a band needs to remain disciplined, you know, but we don't need to be stuck up, you know. Let's have fun. Let's just be ourselves and you know, just go with the flow, you know. I mean, I had a good time with it. At the beginning, it's a learning process too, you know. I mean, maybe I was moving my arms weirdly, you know. I was getting criticism, good criticism, constructive criticism that, like I said, made me want to learn more and be better, and take examples from other people that I've seen, like for example, Joe Suto in the States.
Yes,
phenomenal musician, composer, maestro, big influence, you know. Even though we don't know each other that well, I saw what he does, and he was a big name. A lot of people spoke about him. He also, you know, reached out to me and said if there was anything that I needed, he was there to help when I first became maestro. But there's a lot to it, you know, and it takes a certain theory of music too. Like I learned the solfège in a certain way at Filarmonica that wasn't like, it's not like learning music in university or stuff like that, you know?
Or a conservatory.
The way I learned is what I know. I can pick up an instrument, a brass instrument, put any paper in front of me, I'm going to play it. You know what I mean? Maybe not perfectly the first shot, but practice. Yeah. Everything takes practice. Nobody starts as a pro. My first year was fun, and I was getting better. I was getting better and better, you know? So, but at a point, life hits, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Life hits and things happen. I was going through some personal things in life also.
You had a lot, also a big load on you. You had DJing, you had the rest of the band.
Well, once I became maestro, I kind of
You
let
stopped
everything
DJing?
else go. I let everything else go. I told myself
You
I
want to
have
give your 100% on this, yeah.
100%. You know, slowly the DJing. Also, when COVID hit, it kind of ruined everything. You know, there was no more parties, right? No more DJing, no more bands. So that was a big gap. Also, that kind of ruined the vibe of bands and DJs.
Yeah, that's true.
And when parties started coming back, I wasn't that interested in getting back into that anymore. You know, so I kind of let that go and concentrated on maestro. You know, but then there were things like, you know, you gotta transpose some songs that the paperwork doesn't work out for a certain instrument. You gotta change the tone, and you know, going out looking for songs. I'm not a guy that has the best knowledge of quais marchas portuguesas that are out there now that I can go play, or who can I ask for this, or who can I ask. I'm a type of guy that I don't like to ask for help either. You know what I mean? I'm just like that, you know? So if I can't do it on my own, and if I don't believe in myself that I'm 100% good enough to do it, I had fun with it. I did it. I got the experience. Like I said, I envisioned myself doing it before I actually did it. And I wanted to try. And I got the chance to do it. I had a blast with it. And who knows what the future holds. But I had a good time. And I had to tell you, when I left, I had to announce to everybody that, guys, I need some time. I can't focus right now. It's a lot of things. My job is a little stressing. My personal life was a mess a bit at a point, and I wasn't happy. Okay, and everybody goes through some sort of thing sometimes when they have mental issues or whatever it is. So I kind of took a step back, and that step back lasted a year. For a year, I never saw anybody in the Filarmonica. I didn't show my face at one feast for a year. I remember I was taking a walk back then with a friend of mine, and we were actually walking on Rachel near St. Urban, and it happened to be a weekend of a feast. And I was standing at the corner, nobody noticed me, and I saw the band of Montreal coming into the church playing a song. Dude, that gave me so much shivers and so much goosebumps that I was looking for the first time in 30 years. I was looking at my band without me, you know what I mean? And obviously that affects you, and then the thoughts started, I was starting to get better. The thoughts of coming back were in my mind. I was putting my alarm every Sunday morning to get up to go to practice throughout the year that I didn't show up. Every Sunday morning I woke up. But when I woke up, I was like, then at a point I was scared to go back. You know what I mean?
You weren't ready yet.
I wasn't ready. I would get anxiety, and I would say, okay, I'm not going to go. I'll go next week. I'll go next week. I'll go next week. I never quit the band. I just said I need time. You know what I mean? I was going to come back eventually. I knew it. And you know what? Stuff happened. You know what? The year without music, I love music, but it did me good also. To see life without having all these weekend shows and having to go somewhere, it was an eye opener also, and I got to just live other stuff for that moment that I needed. You know what I mean?
You got to back away a bit and see things from outside. A bit.
That's right.
Put things back in perspective.
That's right.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Until the actual moment that I decided, I want to go back, and they had already replaced me. Obviously they gotta continue, right?
They gotta move on.
And anyways, the person that replaced me should have been the maestro before I was even called, but she was kind of put on the spot. It was a surprise to her, so she wasn't ready for that. And but when I came back and Debbie Aguiar was the maestro, I was super happy, and I got to experience playing for her, and she's doing an amazing job. I see what she's doing that I did the first years. She's still progressing. She's learning. We always learn all the time, and she's doing a phenomenal job. And she's just advancing with it. And she's, aqui la filha do Sr. Leonard, you know what I mean? So that's why I say she was supposed to be named before me, but it was a surprise to her.
Filha de peixe sabe nadar, no?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it was a surprise when Leonard announced that he was like, "Okay, you're going to be the next," and she kind of panicked and was like, "Well, I'm not ready for this," you know, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like she
he
was put
kind
on
of
the spot. Yeah.
yeah, she was on the spot, but you know, everything happens for a reason,
Yep.
and
O
you
destino é
know,
que
I'm so
marcava.
happy that it's her because you know, kind of. I love playing music too. You know, Maestro
Yeah.
was fun, but I like playing music, and I missed that. And I
Yeah.
think that's probably why I had my year off, because I had my certain problems, because playing music
What is
heals
your
your soul, my
yeah?
friend.
It's your escape. It's your escape.
It heals. I'm in another world when I'm playing notes and I'm playing those beautiful martial songs that we play, and it's a different feeling. It makes you feel good, you know. So, and also with the stress of always, you know, you have to everybody, you're the leader when you're
Yeah.
maestro, you know, and you're the image of the band. Everybody, you know, you have to make sure everybody's on the same page and prepare everybody properly, you know, and patience, you know, because you have children, you have an older crowd, you have somebody that forgot their papers, somebody that broke their instrument. You gotta deal with all these little things all the time, you know. So at a point with all that, I just took a step back and I enjoyed my year. And I love coming back to the Filarmonica. This is my second year back already, and I love it, man. I don't plan to leave again, and I just want to stick with it and just keep playing, bro.
It's a perfect. I feel you 100%. I empathize with you 100% on this, and I feel it in your voice. This is a perfect transition for me to ask you this question. What does it mean to be a member of Filarmonica Portuguesa de Montreal in 2026?
Oh my God, you know the history of this band. We've passed the 50-year mark, our 50-year anniversary. Oh my God, I don't want to screw this up. I think it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah,
So
it
I
was
mean,
around there. Yeah, I
you
think it was
know,
2021. I think it was 2021, or
well, look,
right
let's do
after
the
the
math. It
pandemic.
was founded in 1972, right?
Oh, so in 2022, it was 50 years.
1972. So yeah, exactly. 4 years ago was 50 years that we did that, and it's a privilege, you know, when you walk into the hall and you see pictures of the first members of the band back then. You know, some of the pictures are like very old, almost black and white. You know, and you see the first maestros, Sil Mendonça. You see pictures of the people that have passed there in the direction and stuff like that, and it's a history and it's a privilege for us Portuguese people to have this in our culture and in our feasts. Marching bands, you don't see it everywhere, you know, and it's just an amazing thing, you know. It's so fun to be a part of with other people that love doing the same thing, and we become a family, and you just everybody has to take the same step together, you know. It's amazing to be in something like that still today. Like I said, for me personally, I was 12, so it's like over 30 years that I'm
Yeah.
in the Filarmonica, you know, and the crest will always be in my heart, man. Always, always. I love
Well,
it.
nice. Well said. And it's also the tight knit aspect of it. And you guys move in a block. Everybody, toda a gente se entende. Everybody is on the same path, and it's just amazing to see, and even more amazing to hear when you guys are playing. I don't watch a lot of parades, but I've watched a few concerts of you this year. Anjou, I saw the bit of the video, and just to see you guys up on stage, it just feels like you guys are in your element, and it's beautiful to watch.
Yeah,
So
everybody's into it, and everybody, you know, works hard at practice. You know, during the winter, we practice once a week, Sunday mornings. Sometimes it's tough, you know, because it's like your only day off on a Sunday, and you got to wake up early to go to practice. But once you get there and you see everybody, and everybody's happy, and people bring their children, and there's a lot of couples that got, you know, a lot of people met each other in music. There's a lot of
yeah, that's true.
couples.
That's true.
There's a lot of couples, and sometimes I say to people that left the band that have kids, I tell them, I go, you should never leave the band, because it's thanks to the band that you met your wife, and
Yeah,
that you guys have these little kids running around today,
yeah,
and you guys quit the band. I've told a few people that no, the
yeah, yeah.
band is the reason why you have your family today, because if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have met her. You would have probably had another family, okay? But the one you have now is graças a Filarmonica que tu tens essa família agora.
And some people need to be reminded.
Yeah, exactly. But there's still a lot of couples, and you know it. I mean, Ashalaga had a band too back in the day, and a lot of guys and girls hooked up together, and a lot of them are still together today for sure.
Yep. And it's all part of. It's another good part of our culture that we have is not only that we live the land where our parents are from and we live its culture, but we actually, after meet people, in these cases, in these couples, they meet people that live that same culture, that come from the same country, and they form families that, if they would have been in Portugal, they would have been formed anyways. And that's what I love about it. It keeps our culture going, you know, because of these things. I met my wife at the Filarmonica, or I met my wife no Bailing, and now we have kids. And now I'm bringing these kids to be in the Bailing or to be in the Filarmonica, and that's the continuation I love to see, man. That's absolutely amazing.
It's just amazing to have groups, you know, like there's groups folklore, there's dances carnaval, there's bandas, you know. We have so much going in the Portuguese community, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's everybody has something that they're getting ready to perform for, a feast, a party, people organizing feasts, people helping serve for these parties. The Portuguese community is always in action, always. It's beautiful.
We're lucky to here in Montreal to have a vibrant community with so many organizations, so many parties, and people dedicated to put forth our culture and our traditions.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yes, sir, my friend.
Okay, so now before we wrap this up, I wouldn't feel comfortable without bringing up an elephant in the room. I'm sure you already know what I'm talking about.
No, where's the elephant, bro? That's not an elephant, bro.
I'd like to give you a bit of a moment here to this week. You made a post on Facebook, so if everybody, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. It vehiculated a lot in the community. If you want to elaborate on that and maybe set some the record straight in a certain case.
Okay, so what I posted, for those who saw what I posted on my Facebook this week, let me start by saying, you know, for a while, when I spoke before about me leaving for a year and my own personal problems, I actually was like, and I have no shame saying this, I was going through some anger management courses, okay? And a quote that I remember reading, and it stuck with me, was, "No man thinks properly when his fists are clenched."
Oh, wow.
Okay. Wow. Huge quote. I would get that tattooed somewhere on me, dude. And it stuck with me, man, you know, because things happen in life that we don't take the time to reflect on what's said. We don't take the time to calm down before reacting. You know what I mean? Yep. So everything is just thrown up in the air. Things were said on some comments on our Facebook group of the band. Obviously, we all love our group that we're in. We all protect our group that we're in. My brothers and sisters are in that group, you know, like not from my mother, but I thought like 40 people are my brothers and sisters in there. Mm-hmm. So I'm the type of guy, if you put my family down, I'm going to come get you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's a shame that things were said on both parties, okay? People saw my post. I posted the conversation mm-hmm. on my Facebook, so people were able to read what happened. When I think about it now, it's so much nonsense, and it's like, what a waste of energy, what a waste of time, what a waste of life. Because mm-hmm. you know, I wrote it. I said, "Vivim bien." People live well. I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to act like I'm a priest here. You know what I mean?
Nobody is.
I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has their own personal problems in life. one thing with social media is if you're going to post something, no matter what it is, it could be one of your podcast shows, it could be one of our concert videos, and we see it. We watch videos, we read comments also. It's not all positive.
No, of course not.
A lot of people behind
smoke.
screens take it to themselves to say what they want.
Yeah,
and to maybe be insulting sometimes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's tough, like, because like we're talking about this Portuguese community. It's so beautiful. Everybody's got their groups. Everybody's happy to do what they do. You know, what we should say is that in Montreal, this is what we have. We have folklore, we have chorales de igreja, we have danças carnaval, and we have two good marching bands with two good directions, and we all love doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We all go to this. We see each other at every feast.
The same passion for music.
We're all in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes the boat is always leaning on one side, you know what I mean? And then people push to bring it back. Like, let's try and keep it afloat in the same level, you know what I mean?
Balanced.
So listen, to make a long story short, what was said was said. I responded. People saw how I responded. If I can go back, I wouldn't have responded, to be honest with you, just to not start anything. You know, there's a lot of times that I feel like writing something. There's times that I have put something. There's times on videos that I put a comment, and like 5 minutes later, I delete it. I delete my own comments because it's things that I learned during my courses. Like, you need to reflect. You need to have a subconscious part of your brain think before you react. You know what I mean? We need to like let the dust settle
before you press send on that button.
Exactly. But sometimes an instinct, we're all human, right? An instinct, a gente se nervem, a gente dizem coisas que vão depois responder mais louco, you know?
Oh yeah. Happened to me. So.
And it's a lot of things at the same time, you know? Like I said, it's no excuse. Well, it's no excuse. Everybody goes through their own thing in life, you know what I mean? Like, right now, I'm not having an easy time, you know? To put it out there and to tell people that, you know, my father is sick, my father has cancer. That's so much more important of me being there for my dad and taking care of him and you know, just to be there with him instead of arguing with an elderly guy that also has his own situation at home. He has to take care of his family members too, you know. Yeah. Everybody's got their personal lives. Yes. Was it a right thing to say? Until today, I don't understand why it was said. But, you know, it doesn't really matter now. But at the time, it mattered because I like to get down to the point and find out why things happen. You know what I mean?
What was meant? Yeah.
Why is something like that being said? You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And I reached out and I tried to find out, and then we saw what we saw on my Facebook, right? And I took it to another level too because I kind of snap and I don't take the time to reflect or to ignore it for a bit because I know in 15, 20 minutes I'm going to be okay and I won't think the same as I did in the first seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like I said, Montreal is fortunate, a comunidade portuguesa de Montreal, que a gente tem duas boas bandas com duas direções incríveis, that, you know, we should all just appreciate each other, put whatever differences we have aside and stop wasting our energy on nonsense, on hypocriticism, on criticism. You know, live happy, man. You know, like, we just got to put this behind us and move on. You know what I mean? There's no point in us continuing to argue because where does it end?
Yeah.
Where does it end, Costa?
And
arguments don't end well.
No. I think it's a perfect moment for everybody to reflect on on that aspect of social media, because social media is a great tool, and we all appreciate what social media has brought us to keep in touch with family in Portugal and all these good things that social media. But the bad part comes with everything that's good has a bad part, and unfortunately, social media has a bad part. And the bad part is that sometimes we'll post things because it's you write something, and then once it's sent, it's sent. You know, when you're thinking about saying something, you're thinking about saying it. How is that the other person gonna receive it? But when you write something out of anger, like you were saying before, which that quote, you're gonna have to send it to me written down, because I definitely would like to have that written down. It's perfectly explained, because in that moment of anger, you write something and you press send, and then you're like, oh fuck, what did I do?
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes it's not even a minute later. You're like, hey,
Yep. Absolutely. I'm lying down in bed at night reflecting on things, and I'm like, hey, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have done that. And it goes with a lot of other life situations, not just this one. You know what I mean?
No. Yes.
Things that happen at work that I'm like, oh shit, I should have maybe done that, or I should have maybe told him in a different way. So it's life lessons, dude. You know what I mean? We wake up every morning and there's a lesson waiting for us at any moment of the day. You know what I mean?
And there's always going to be a sane competition, because competition is good. Vocês pushing pro outro. Oh, look at them! They played that song very well. That was nice. Hey, we got to practice this song, and we play it. We show them that we can play a song just as well as they can, and that is the good part of competition. But then comes in the other part, where sometimes it becomes more of a rivalry than a sane competition.
But why, Costa? Because of the outside noise.
Yes.
Because of one person that's gonna say, "Oh, aquele cantor miúdo que aquele."
Yeah.
Or there's and then it gets to people's ears. Everybody changes the stories. Everybody has their own opinion, which is normal. Everybody has their own taste. If you like Bon Jovi more than you like Aerosmith, it's your choice, dude. You know what I mean? But sometimes people take it to another level and add a little bit more insulting stuff, and
indirect, umas piadas aqui e ali.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, words are to be carefully chosen when you want to say something on social media, especially.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, in Toronto, how many bands do they have?
I think I've been going through this looking for a band for our party in September, and I think I called minus Sun Cruz, because I knew they were going Sun Cruz, so I called 4. So I think there's 5 bands.
So there's 5 bands in Toronto. Okay. In Portugal, we can't even count how many bands there are in the States.
Almost every
States, so
California, they have a band festival. I think they have 14 bands in the state of California, Portuguese bands. And
we don't see any posts of them bashing each other. We don't see any posts of them insulting each other. Why here in Montreal is there always this little friction between the two bands that exist here? That's sometimes there's a period of time that everything goes well, everybody's okay, we're all friends, we can have a drinks at the bar, and then there's another part of the summer that something, a little stupid detail happened, and it pisses everybody off. You know what I mean? I think there needs to be maybe more of a set like an organized planning of how the day is going to enroll. Like you said, it's like a good competition. Sometimes we have the same songs. So we're going in the parade and we can hear the other band playing the same song we have.
Yeah.
So respectfully, we say, okay, well, they played it, we're not going to play it. You know what I mean? And vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's just the point of, a waste of energy, a waste of life. There's so much more worse things in life than that. What are we doing? Like we're all doing what we love to do. Let's continue doing it. A big word that needs to be implied here is unity.
Yep.
Unity has to be a part of our culture.
I agree.
A part of us sticking together, a part of us growing together, making it even bigger. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's a sensitive situation, but whatever happened. It's past. It's not good to reflect on the past. They got to turn the page and move on. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I already have in my mind to do what I gotta do, and I posted something. Like I said, sometimes I would post something, and a few hours later or the next day, I'm taking it down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, I felt it already, and I plan on taking care of a couple of things to show that it's not worth it. And I would like to help set the example. You know what I mean? Of this could be peaceful, and this could be a unity. And like I said, we have two good bands, just like there's three good folklores in the community, or two good danseurs carnaval, or two DJs, or three bands.
Mm-hmm.
The bondage is the same thing.
Yeah.
We have two good bands with two good directions. Everybody's proud of their crest on the jacket and on their shirt. Everybody will fight for their people. But what's there to fight for? Nobody goes home with a medal, dude. You know what I mean?
And nothing brings good from conflict anyway. So
Exactly. There's nothing good other unless you're involved in boxing or UFC. You know what I mean? That's where stuff happens. And even them, they beat the shit out of each other. And what do they do after? They shake hands.
they hug, and they go have a beer together after.
Amen.
So that's what
Amen,
that's
bro.
what it should be. And sometimes I want to say this. Sometimes these things happen just because of a lack of communication. Like sometimes, or it's not. In this case, it wasn't. But in some things, it's something was said, but it wasn't. It didn't come out the way the guy intended to come out, or didn't write it the way he intended to come out. And then the outside noise, like you said before, comes and even gets that even more bigger and makes that even more, amplifies it even more, and then these conflicts happen.
Dude, we all help each other, Costa. Let me tell you a little story. Okay, when I was maestro, and I'm not going to name names, I'm not going to say who said what and this and that. A little short story. When I was maestro, somebody from the other band came up to me because they saw we were successful. They saw that we had, new people. We were growing. We were having a good time. And somebody asked me. They said to me, and this is a true story. And if this person is listening, it's true, right? The person said to me, "Hey, how do you guys do it, man? Comment vous faites?" You know what I mean? Vous avez des nouveaux membres. Vous êtes en train de grandir, and this and that. And I was brand new as a maestro. I think it was my second year as maestro, or third year. That they saw that we were having a success. We were in a high, right? And I responded to this person. I said, you know what? It's like a hockey team. Sometimes when the team goes bad, what did the organization do? They change the coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then when they change the coach, the team becomes on fire. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The year I said that to this person, it stayed. The next year, they made changes. So I feel like I kind of, I didn't tell them to do it. I gave them an advice. I gave them an advice, and that advice was taken, whether you like it or not. Yeah. You took that advice and you worked with it, and it worked out for you.
Yeah.
So we kind of helped each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I said that.
I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Whoever doesn't believe this story, I don't care, because it's here. It's in my heart, bro. Because I won't forget that moment. Okay? Because I have no problem with this person. They came and asked me. My response was that. Sometimes, des fois, une équipe d'hockey va pas bien, là. Change the coach. And they took that. This person probably passed that message to others, and they did exactly that. And
they took that decision,
and they're doing well, and I have nothing against it. I'm actually happy if I have 1% of helping somebody. Like my friend, I have a friend that DJs. He calls me sometimes to see if I have anything new for him, to ask me for advice or to ask me equipment stuff. I help, bro. We all need to help each other. Okay, this whatever people think is going on between us, it was a stupid comment. Why are we wasting time on that? It was a stupid comment. I might have responded a bit too intense also. If I can go back, I would I would delete the messages. Like I said, I post things out of reaction right away. I'm on fire sometimes.
Yeah, you're more of a reactionary. Yeah.
But depois, quando as coisas estão mais calmas, and then we start thinking, it's like, why did I go do that? You know what I mean? And I'm 100% honest with everybody, whoever's gonna watch this podcast show. Live well. Let's all live in unity. Let's love our community and the things we do in it and the fun that we have in it. Mm-hmm. Basically, that's it, bro. I don't know what else to say, man.
Well, you said it all right there, man. That's what this needs. This situation needs, man. It's only unity, and that's where everybody. When we don't have conflicts, everybody's happy. Life is good, and we're all enjoying each other, and that's where we need to get to in general. In this, not only in the community, not only in bands, but in our life, in general.
Because we're a big community. Pessoas de Montreal vão para a faixa de Santa Teresa. Pessoas de Santa Teresa vão para a faixa de Anjou. Pessoas de Anjou vão para a faixa de Laval. We're always gathering, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we need to choose in what way we want to gather. Do we want to show up there to play music and to listen to other musics, or do we want to go there and start war and be long-faced and have bad attitudes, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody needs that. Nobody needs that. And like I said, I'm not talking like I'm a priest. I'm not perfect. I've had my own moments, but I always strive to try and be a better person. You know what I mean?
That's all we can do.
Sometimes it's tough. It's not easy.
No.
It's work in progress. It could take a while, but you got to keep that mindset of trying to not let things bother you. You know, like before we got on the show, I spoke to you about an accident that I had on the street with my car.
Mm-hmm.
I snapped. And, now I have no car. I have a rental and my car might be total loss. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Material stuff. Yeah. What's important is my health because I snapped. I stressed. Stress takes off days of your life, my friend.
Oh, yes.
Okay? Live a long life. Like I said, I have important things in my life right now to take care of. And that's all that counts for me. I don't need to... life is short, bro. And when you have people close to you that are in trouble, you realize it, and you don't wanna start,
No, you
having to stress or get sick by stress.
Yeah, and put your priorities in the right place, and don't waste time in with these kind of useless
nonsense.
Useless nonsense. The word I was looking for was nonsense. It is nonsense.
Nonsense. Yeah. Now don't forget that a man never thinks straight when his fists are clenched.
Yes, sir. That's an amazing...
For me personally, it stuck with me, man. It stuck with me, and I'll never forget that. The only thing is that when I do go a little cuckoo, I forget that quote. But it's the first moments. It's the first moments of when something happens. You're like, oh yeah, you want to defend yourself, obviously, bro. Nobody likes to, I'm a type of guy that, ninguém falou comigo same, bro. And if you talk to me like that, I have a response. You know what I mean?
Of course. I'm not going to be stepped on. We're not saying here that let yourself be stepped on. That's not what we're saying here.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Nobody should be stepped on. What we're saying is, sometimes in these little things, these little comments on Facebook, or somebody walking in the street, or giving you a finger while they're driving, or cut you off.
Oh my God!
These things don't matter, bro.
Yeah, exactly. There's a way of you have to. We all, like me personally, still today, I'm still learning on how to bypass that moment of frustration and just kind of ignore it, move on, and continue with my day. You know what I mean? It's like you say on the road, somebody cuts you off, you start yelling. What are you going to do? You're going to come out, we're going to start hitting each other, and we're both going to end up in big trouble. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Anything can happen. We've seen these videos of road rage on social media, and sometimes it gets out of hand. So just take a chill pill, bro.
Damn right, chill pill, bro. Damn right.
Thank you for clearing that up here. I think it was
clearing it up. I mean, did I clear it up? I said my part. I hope everybody understands. I think some people might have expected me to come on this show today and act very differently. But I took it upon myself to say, you know what? I'm going to act better than what people think I'm going to be. You know what I mean? Try to be that better person, man, all the time, bro. Life is short, and we do what we love. We see it in soccer. Soccer teams play, hockey teams play. Everybody shakes hands at the end of the game, man.
Wow, we're so compatible, and we're so think that it's amazing. Oh, during this whole conversation, I had notes here. I can show you, and Brian would do the transition without even knowing my subjects that I have to talk about. Brian would transition right away into the next question, and in this case, he did it perfectly. A perfect transition here, talking about soccer, and we're gonna close this conversation on this. This is the World Cup, and right now we're recording on Friday the 19th. Portugal played one game, and it was a horrible game. Do you still have faith?
Oh, of course. I'm wearing the shirt, man. You know what I mean? Congo, a lot of people are saying Congo has a good young team too, and this and that. But when you look at the names we have on the field and the talent we have, we should have won that game. Like, when I saw the starting lineup, I was already like, oh my God, one or two defensemen there. I was like, oh no, Ruben Diaz, he's injured, or that's a big loss back there, man. That's a big loss.
I think from what I understood from the post-game conferences, press conferences, I think he's going to play next game because, it's a big loss.
It's a big loss back there. As much as I love Ronaldo, I would have pulled him out at 60 minutes, dude. You know what I mean? Come out, let somebody else go in because nothing was happening. It was always mid-camp, patrage, mid-camp, a little attack, back to mid-camp, patrage. It was...
How do you have 759 assists with 92% accuracy, passes, with 92% accuracy, and you only have 3 shots.
And what was the percentage of possession of the ball? We had the ball the whole game.
Yeah. I think it was 80-81 or something like that.
We had the ball the whole game, and we couldn't finalize, put the ball in the net, man. I hope they regroup. Everybody goes through their ups and downs. Hopefully, this was just a little down for them. Warm up to start up.
Don't forget, Argentina lost their first game of the group stage 4 years ago, and they ended up winning the World Cup. So
exactly,
that doesn't mean nothing.
Great example.
Portugal, when they play these, that's why I like being in a group of death when Portugal gets in, because Portugal right away, when they play good teams, right away they step up. But when they play these weaker teams, sometimes, especially in big competitions, it seems like they disappear, and some players forget how to play. A lot of things come into hand. Ronaldo playing 90 minutes, you said it. Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, and João Neves not being. These three are some of the, if not the best midfielders in the world.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get one pass into the box, into those things. I'm already boiling up just talking about it.
Yeah, Tuesday is going to be quite against Uzbekistan, eh?
Yeah, Uzbekistan, big game, must win. It's a must win because if you win with 4 points, then you don't feel as the pressure against Colombia that you're gonna
win or lose. A gente são sempre orgulhosos de ser português.
As armas, baby. As armas.
I will never say anything bad about Portugal. I'll judge the game. Yes, I won't be happy with something, but it's our team. It would always be our team for the rest of our lives. Obviously, we want the success for everybody, right? Just for the bands, like the bands.
Yeah.
We want success for us. They want success for them. Everybody's successful because we're all doing the same thing already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It would be good. It would be good, the World Cup for Ronaldo to finish his World Cup career with a World Cup.
Man.
It would be a dream ending that all Portuguese are praying for.
You're killing me, dude. It's crazy, dude. It's like, and we've been watching these games on my phone at work, trying to get in a corner somewhere, watch the game and be focused on that. And it's fun though. It's a good time for people to come together because like everybody's from a different ethnicity, right? You got some people from France, Portugal, Mexicans, Argentinians, a lot of people.
IT this year. IT's in the World Cup too this year.
IT, bro. Yeah, man. And, even, these guys, they know they're not going to go far, bro. They know they're not going to come in and win a World Cup, but they're in the tournament. They enjoy enjoy life, bro. You made it. You're there. Have fun with it. That's it. That's the point of it.
Congo's obviously Congo knows they're not going to win the World Cup. What for them, the whole World Cup, their World Cup final was playing Portugal.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's the World Cup for them. So
and tying against Portugal 1-1.
Yeah,
man, these guys, they must have partied like they won the World Cup, like you just said. Exactly.
You see, that's expectations, right? Are all part of it. It finished tied. Both teams got a point. One team was super happy. The other team was super downing and felt like a loss. You see, it's expectations.
Well, for sure. I mean, Portugal had a lot of expectations this year with the names they have on the team and stuff. So we can only see on Tuesday now, man. Let's pray. Exactly. Let's pray that they do something good and that Ronaldo can be successful because another good example. The whole world, half of the world likes Messi, half the world likes Ronaldo. People talk bad about Ronaldo. People talk bad about Messi. These guys are friends, bro.
Yeah.
They're friends together. They don't listen to the outside noise.
Exactly.
It's incredible. And these are all little examples that we all need to start following a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What a great conversation, bro. An hour and 36 minutes. It passed by like this.
How much I get paid for this?
Olha, uma cerveja para ti, para a próxima.
On me, brother.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking time from your busy day. I know you're very busy with all these things happening. I really appreciate it. Everybody here also listening, I know appreciates it. It was a very good conversation.
I hope so.
And viva a gente, viva a nossa cultura, bro. That's how we roll.
Viva a gente, viva os portugueses, viva a nossa comunidade. Amor por todos.
That's right.
Amor por todos. Vamos, vivem bem. I have no grudges against anybody. Whatever happened, I forgot about it. Forgive and forget.
Well
that's
said.
all that's important right now, And sometimes it's a shame, but when you live certain personal traumatizing things in your life, you start realizing some stuff also, So every day you wake up, there's a lesson waiting for you somewhere during the day, man. That's for sure.
Well said. Very well said. And don't forget, people, you cannot think properly when you have your fists clenched. Your fists, bro. So don't forget, everybody. That's one thing to remember and to always think about before you press the button send. So thanks everybody again for coming and watch. Don't forget to share, follow Saudade Generation Tuga podcast, the page.
Follow Michael Costa. Generation Tuga podcast is on the rise, baby.
Let's go, everybody. Share the page, share the podcast, and comment, guys, because it also helps the algorithm if you comment, if you hear something that you liked or that even if you didn't like.
You know what? You should do that. You should you do like live shows.
Yeah, I do sometimes.
You should do live shows and ask people to send you questions.
I think I'm gonna do that.
Like on the radio, people call in, right?
Yeah.
When you're talking to somebody, you tell everybody, you know what? Send me in your questions. I'll read them out. I'll ask whoever. Like if we were doing a live right now, and somebody had a question to ask me, they would ask you, and you tell me, oh well, this guy here is asking me this for you to answer.
I think I could do that one day. I didn't want to do it live because sometimes you want to do stuff in editing or some things weren't perfect 100%. You want to fix. But that's a good thing about live is that you could interact with the people watching. So
exactly. Yeah.
To look into. So again, thanks a lot, Brian. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Anytime. I know I was a little nervous coming on here today. I know, but then I just think to myself, you know what? I'm just having a conversation with my long life friend Michael Costa.
Exactly.
Back in the day, we used to leave the bars at 3 o'clock in the morning during the winter.
Walk
And there
home
was
3
no more
hours.
buses. Às vezes era muito frio para andar para casa. We would stay in the bus booths and we'd sing, just me and you, all night, bro. We'd sing Bon Jovi songs one after the other in that bus booth, eh?
The whole
4 o'clock in the morning.
man.
Waiting for the first bus to pass by at 5:30.
Good times. There's so much more stuff to talk about. We'll have to redo this and get into more of Bon Jovi, of maybe that opportunity you had also with the tribute band that also people would like to.
God, yes.
That was a good adventure. So we'll have you back on the podcast very soon.
We got some more stories, man, for sure. Anytime. It's my pleasure, and I hope all the viewers enjoyed it, and I hope it wasn't too long. I hope we didn't bore anybody, but I hope everybody was very attentive also, and listened. It's my opinion. People might not agree, like we said. Social media, people are going to comment. People are going to be negative. People are going to be positive. Whatever it is, it is. I said what I had to say. Hopefully, we can all come together and just live in harmony.
And move forward from this. Well said. Well said. Thanks, everybody, for coming on. Thank you again, Brian. I'll see you all next time on Saudade Generation Tuga. Até já.